Hello, everyone. Welcome to Film Dive. It's finally here, folks. Game of Thrones prequel series that's coming to remind us why we fell in love with Westeros in the first place. House of the Dragon. The story about Targaryen civil war. The show that has to be so good to make us forget what David and Dan did to us. Look, they even made the Iron Throne book accurate. Well, kind of. It seems that the House of the Dragon wants to give us a more accurate Iron Throne, but is still not the Iron Throne. This is not the actual Iron Throne, and this is not the actual Iron Throne. Guys, fake thrones. But in this episode, I'm gonna show you what the actual Iron Throne looks like. The Iron Throne we saw in the Game of Thrones was the smallest one.
1,000 blades, taken from the hands of Aegon's fallen enemies, forged in the fiery breath of Balerion the Dread.
There aren't 1,000 blades. There aren't even 200. I've counted.
Yes, it's not even 200 swords. But we know that Aegon Targaryen gathered the swords of his defeated enemies. You're not called Aegon the Conqueror if you've defeated only 200 people. Both in the books and the shows, they bring up the fact that the Iron Throne's made of at least 1,000 swords. And it might be even more. In House of the Dragon, they've added way more swords. Unfortunately, we can't count them, but we don't need to. You know why? Because the swords are not even added to the throne itself. They've added them to the stairs. It's not the actual Iron Throne. It's the same as the Game of Thrones with some edgy stairs. The real Iron Throne was massive. It was gigantic. I mean, just imagine how much space would more than 1,000 swords take. George R.R. Martin, the author of The Song of the Ice and Fire, says, quote, I speak repeatedly about how huge the Iron Throne is. You have to walk up iron steps. And when a king sits on it, he's like 10 feet above everybody else in the hall. Yes, even the stairs are made of swords. How cool is that? It was made to put fear in people's heart. It was a sign of dominance. Imagine being a lord in Westeros and standing in front of Aegon on that monster of a chair. And he's like, dude, look at this sword. This used to be your mom's sword. You'd be terrified, right? George R.R. Martin also says, quote, nobody got the Iron Throne right. Not the movies, not the card games, not the fan art. You would need St. Paul's Cathedral to be able to put the Iron Throne in it. Even this picture is not accurate. I bet it's way more than 1,000 swords. Because in the Field of Fire, the Battle of Aegon against combined armies of House Lannister and House Gardener, 4,000 men died by fire. If only 1/4 of them held swords, then you'd have 1,000 swords from that battle alone. Well, I'm not saying it's HBO's fault. A throne that big would definitely cost too much, and even if they had the money, where they would even put it. But if we could see the Iron Throne in its full glory, we'd understand why people spilled so much blood over it. The actual Iron Throne is a symbol of conquest, a monstrosity that reminds every lord in Westeros who's really in charge. Sitting on the Iron Throne was a big deal. Whoever sat on the Iron Throne was the true ruler, at least in people's eyes. This has happened before with Joffrey and Aemon Targaryen. None of them were legitimate rulers, but they had the Iron Throne. People seem to only care about who sits on the Iron Throne, and I just wish we could see its full glory someday. If you like our work, don't forget to like and subscribe. And with that out of the way, I see you guys next week.